Next into the tank is a better version of a ubiquitous workout necessity.
What's up, Sharks? My name is Chris. I'm from Dallas, Texas.
Yeah.
And my company is Ice Shaker. I'm here seeking $100,000 for 10% ownership in my company. Sharks, as you can tell, I work out. The Ice Shaker. The Ice Shaker is a double-wall, vacuum-insulated shaker bottle that will hold ice for over 30 hours in a 75-degree room. The insulated bottle does not sweat. And here's my favorite part. The Ice Shaker is a kitchen-grade stainless steel, so it doesn't absorb odor.
Bros! Woo! Come on down! Let's rip it!
Oh, meet my brothers, Gordy, Dan, Rob, and Glenn Gronkowski.
Wow.
Together,
Oh my God.
we are the Gronk!
Wow.
Give some super claps for Super Chris Gronkowski. Woo! Welcome, Chris. How you doing today?
What's up, Joe?
You know, just living the dream over here. It looks like you're about to live a dream.
Man, it's been a long time coming, I guess. I don't know if it's a dream or a nightmare at this point, but getting close to moving into the new house, so it feels good.
That is awesome to hear. So let's just jump right into how were you feeling walking down this hallway?
Man, there it is. Yeah, I was pumped, man. I was ready to go. So, walking out there, it almost feels like you're walking onto the field for a game. And man, if you're prepared, you're kind of nervous. You can, but you're at the same time you're confident about it as well. So, I was walking out with I feel like a little bit of swag there, I hope. And I was ready to go. I probably rehearsed my pitch 1,000 times, and by the time I actually got out there, I already felt like I knew the Sharks because I've watched so many episodes and I've studied all their questions that they asked in the past. So by the time I actually walked through that tunnel and got on stage, I was like, man, what's up, guys? Like, I feel like we're best friends already.
Well, would you say it's easier to prepare for a NFL game or this?
That for sure. There's variables in an NFL game that will change, as a play develops. So, there might be a blitz that comes. There might be a completely different coverage that ends up happening while you're, snapping the ball. So a lot more gets thrown at you out of nowhere, and you have to react super quick. So it's pretty much impossible to perfectly prepare for a football game. The Sharks, on the other hand, like I had 9 episodes to go back on, or 9 seasons of episodes to go back on and really study everything that they said they've done. Different types of proposals that they've thrown at people, and I was ready for all of it. So, by the time I walked out there, the answers were pretty much already prepared.
No, that is, I would agree. If you actually are able to do the work of figuring it all out, like what's important to them and their backgrounds and all the histories there to be watched, right? All the tape. Well, not all the tape. I mean, you get like 8 minutes, 10 minutes of the complete, pitch and all, but still, if you extrapolate that over 9 seasons, you have a pretty good playbook to look at and study.
100%, man. That's, if you do the work and you go back and you actually look at the questions they asked, they're repetitive. They come up all the time. You get the question, what's stopping me from making the Mr. Wonderful Shaker? I prepared that one. I was ready to go for it. And unfortunately, he never actually asked that question. So at that time, we didn't have any patent or proprietary formula or anything like that. So I was just ready to get absolutely hammered by Mr. Wonderful. And the exact opposite happened. He actually was the first one to make an offer.
And so going in and knowing that your brothers were down the hall, was that how did that come together? Because that's a lot of people to all have, and with timing to make it all happen like that.
Yeah, it wasn't easy. I believe my brother actually, multiple brothers had to fly out the same day. So they took a red eye in the night before they got there. We were, I think, the first pitch in the morning. And then after that, they flew out right afterwards. So I got to foot a nice marketing bill to fly them all first class and make sure they got there on time and in a comfortable, fashion so that they could show up and have some juice during the filming of the show.
That is, well, hey, you know, it's good to have some write-offs, you know, and because if you don't, like, you know, you're kind of missing out, and that's a good way of utilizing that money to get to see all your brothers, and again to make it all work, so that they could all be in the same place, same time. Which does that happen often? I mean, now that I assume is all the brothers retired at this point? Well, from professional sports.
Yeah, so we're all retired now. At that time, it almost never happened. So we didn't really see each other much. Actually, games kind of became that time for us to see each other. We used to go to Rob's games. All the rest of us were retired by that point, and we used to visit his games, and that was kind of our family get-togethers at that point. So it was tough at that, you know, at that stage. That was almost 6 years ago. He was still playing, and it was tough to get all the brothers together at that point.
Mm-hmm. You know, I can imagine. I mean, you all got your own lives and things, and you know, professional sports schedules and things like that going on. It's hard to make it all come together. But that's nice that you guys were able to get together for Rob's games.
Yeah, for sure. It was a good time. You know, the family all wanted to come out, and I did get to bring my kids to the last game he ever played in. So pretty cool way to you know, kind of end his career as well.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. So one of the things, watching the pitch, because I did it a little bit earlier tonight, I wanted to point out was I really appreciate the fact that you wanted this product, Ice Shaker, to stand on its own, and to be, you know, something that it doesn't matter, you know, which brother or which kid of which brother you know, is you know, a celebrity enough to make a post about it and have it go you know, make the sales go burr. So what, speak to that, as to why it was important for you to make something that stood on its own.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, right off the bat, you don't want a product that's going to live or die on somebody's name. At some point, that person isn't going to be relevant anymore, unfortunately. There's also a lot of things that person can do that are out of your control that would, you know, really help grow the business or you know, really make it fall quickly. So I didn't want it to depend on that. I didn't want, you know, 1-star reviews because he had a bad fantasy football game that week, which I'm sure would have happened. But you know, really at the end of the day, it was going to limit our market. You know, if you put that name on it, fans of New England, fans of the family, we're going to buy. A New York Jets fan, a Buffalo Bills fan, a Miami Dolphins fan, we're probably not going to buy, even if they love the product, just because of the name of the product and you know, the fact that they're fans of an opposing team. So we'd seen it in the past. You know, Rob had done a couple of different things where he did put his name on the products. It did really, really well in the New England territory, and the rest of the country, it did not hit expectations. So it was pretty obvious to me that by putting the name of the company behind him or someone's name was going to actually hurt the company. And when the Sharks threw that at me, that was like the one question I didn't prepare for. You know, I really didn't think they were going to ask that. I thought it was more common sense that it would actually limit the market. To me, there was an easy solution. It was coming out with a custom you know, Gronk shaker, which we did do. We've done different versions of it now. I'm actually rocking like a world record breaking one. It's got all of his records actually printed on the bottle with 3D printing. But it was a way for us to easily capture that market that did want the Gronk shaker. At the same time, you know, it protected the brand, and it stopped it from being you know, a product named after a celebrity that was going to, you know, kind of live or die on that celebrity status. So we stepped away, or I guess, you know, I stepped away from those offers that came in that, you know, where they were pushing that the name had to be changed. Mr. Wonderful at one point said I needed to burn or melt down all the bottles that currently said Ice Shaker on them and change the name immediately. I'm glad I didn't do that. I think I proved to myself and to everyone else that leaving the name as it was and making a limited edition bottle was a much better play.
Yeah, I mean, in my breakdown, that was one of the things that I said, like, why not just make it a separate, like, limited edition or not so limited edition version of the bottle, and then you can hit that market without even having to go and like almost like or white label it, you know, to, if you know, if it were to grow, you could white label it to the Gronk shaker as well and have it under its, you know, expand into its own company.
For sure, for sure.
Down the road. But But with that said, like I'm curious. I see you guys have a Pit Viper one now. I'm trying to figure out what the heck what is a Pit Viper? And I was going through social media and stuff. Like if you get to watch the video, but I'll probably get it out in a couple days. What the heck is it? Because I was having trouble figuring it out.
Yeah, for sure. They're actually a sunglass company. We've done a few different things with them. Rob has his own pair at this point, or he did at one point, and just a really fun company that built a massive following on social media just from doing some pretty ridiculous different stunts and posts, but just have grown in popularity. We became fans of the brand kind of around the start of Ice Shaker. We traded some products, realized that this was a really interesting brand that like to have a good time. And from that, we then partnered with them and we did a limited edition collab bundle with them. So it's a pair of sunglasses. You get the bottle as well. We decked out the bottle so that it matched the sunglasses with the speckled kind of like splashed on paint on the bottles. And we launched the bottle. It's been a great success for us. For us, partnerships are huge because you're able to tap into someone else's audience and really introduce your product to them as well. So that product's done great for us. It's been a great partnership. We'll probably re-up it here in the following year, probably do more of a USA themed bottle with the next one. And then, we kind of started tapping into that with licensing as well. We do have the NFL licensing now, which has been huge. It's been, like a 6-year game plan to get it. And we finally got it. Also got all teams, all leagues. And that's a similar concept. You are paying a royalty. You're paying some decent royalties actually, but you're tapping into an audience that might never have tried or seen your product before, but now their favorite team's on it, which will make it, they're a guy's favorite gift for the holidays or for his birthday, and just makes it super easy to pick out an item for someone when it has their favorite team on it. So we tapped into that just before the holiday season this season, and we're super excited to see how those products do for us.
I picked up on that in the social media because it's like 9 weeks ago, I think it was for NFL or NBA, and then just like 3 weeks ago for the opposite, whatever the opposite was. And I was, I pointed out at the end of the video, like, hey, you got, well, first off, did the deal go through with Alex and Mark? Did you guys ever close?
Yeah, for sure. So we closed the deal. Mark's still a part of the company. My brother Rob actually ended up buying Alex out of the company about 2 years into it.
Oh,
so,
wow.
It's Rob and I and Mark at this point, but Rob has 7.5%, Mark has 7.5%, and I have the rest of it.
Sweet. That's not a bad way to retain that ownership there and good company.
For sure.
But to that point though, is like, look, you were on season 9, we're on season 15 now. Like, it takes years for these types of things to come to fruition, and that's what I wanted to point out to the super entrepreneurs out there. It's like, just because you get a deal with, it doesn't necessarily mean that deal ever closes, but like, it can still take years and years before these opportunities come to fruition.
Yeah, for sure. Nothing great is built overnight. I tell people all the time, it probably took me 3 or 4 years to realize how to even run a company the right way. I got on Shark Tank 6 months into the company. I had no clue what I was doing. I wish I could go back and redo it or kind of re-air and redo everything. But for me at that time, it was huge. It was a massive stepping stone. It shot the business probably forward, I would say at least a year or two. At that point, probably even more, but went from a side hustle in the upstairs of my house to a full-time business. I had to move from my other job that I was doing with my wife to doing Ice Shaker full-time because it just exploded overnight. We had about 80,000 in sales in that first 6 months before we got on Shark Tank. Afterwards, the next 12 months, we did about 3 million in sales. So it shot through the roof. I took every penny I had, reinvested it in. Ended up, going to, I think, over 60 SKUs in the first year. I think we went over 100 in that second year. And what people don't see is, you get on the show, sales explode. And I did not take a penny out of the company for over 2.5 years. So I actually invested probably about $250,000 of my own money in at that point. And then for 2.5 years, I did not take a penny out of the company because I wanted it to grow as big and as fast as possible. And to do that, it took a lot of capital to build up the inventory, create new products, create new SKUs and tooling and everything you needed to do that. And, that was a tough 2.5 years, even though we were profitable. I was actually making really good profit all, for that 2.5 years, but I had to grind it out. My wife let me every day. She let me know about it because we were living off her salary for that 2.5 years. And, it was kind of like, why don't you just come back to the company with her and just continue doing that? And she I don't think she really understood that, the fact that I wasn't getting paid wasn't because we weren't profitable. It was because we were just trying to really build the business as fast as possible.
Yeah, I mean, look, that shout out to your wife for both understanding and also wanting to try to rein you in a little bit there. But it's really it's really important to have access to money, right? So you're not trying to go and raise capital, and you get to retain all the percentage that you have all these years later, and that you own it, right? And it's bigger than it was back then. So not taking any money, like, I mean, being blessed to be in a position to be able to do that is absolutely awesome, right? But at the same time, that doesn't mean you don't feel the crunch. Obviously, your wife was like, hey, it'd be nice if you brought in some money once in a while too, Mr. Selling shakers and growing a business, but not contributing to the pool of money. So I know that's got to be tough on your end and relationship wise.
Yeah, it's a beatdown, man. Everyone thinks you're crushing it. On the books, you're doing well. I think there's different stages of a business once, because I kind of lived through all of them. But at the beginning, you're absolutely just scrapping it out, man. You're doing whatever you can to get a sale. You're going every weekend to different shows, and you're nonstop online. Just looking up different things, just trying to figure out every marketing tactic you could possibly think of without just throwing money all over the place. So you go from there to actually making some money, making some profit. You feel like you're killing it. And then you kind of fall back into this, just couple years for me of just building where you're doing really well, but you have nothing to show for it at all. And then people are asking, man, like, oh, it must be nice. You got on Shark Tank, you're killing it. It must be life must be good. And that whole time I'm working 100 hours a week, every single day of the week, just absolutely grinding it out. Really doing every single aspect of the business, from customer service to sourcing product to marketing to shipping to engraving. There was times when I was 3 years in and I was still waking up at 4 a.m., going to the warehouse, working 5 hours, getting products out the door, going home at 9 a.m. and working a 9 to 5 from my house just to go back and put my kids to bed about 2 hours later and get back on the computer and start working again. So man, the grind's real, man. At the same time, you're learning. And what I didn't really know was how to build a team and hire and, delegate responsibility. So eventually COVID hit. I couldn't go to the warehouse at 4 a.m. in the morning anymore. I couldn't go there when other people were there. And I had to actually teach other people how to do what I was doing. And that was a huge game changer for me. I also had my third kid during COVID at the same time. And, you didn't have babysitters anymore that could come over and watch your kids for you. So it was a grind, but at the same time, it taught me how to build a team, taught me how to delegate. And that time actually shot our business way up through the roof and taught me just a lot about actually running a business.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that, man, there's so much to unpack there. Like, for the sacrifice of not being there with your kids as much and being available and utilizing, we all get time, money, and energy, right? Or time, energy, and money in that order, in my opinion, or the three most important resources we have. And to utilize not only the time but also the energy, and then trying to make it all work while not conserving cash as much as possible, and then getting to a point in the business where you have to basically relearn your business, through the eyes of somebody who hasn't done it before. You've lived, breathed, eat, sleep it, and then you're like, okay, now I have to learn to give out power and empower others around me to be able to do the job that I need or would do if I was, had infinite time, energy, and money.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, the toughest thing for me to do was delegate. I felt like I could do it the best. I could do it the best, but I didn't have the time to do it. And really, for me, I felt like I was putting something on someone else that I could do myself. Like I almost felt bad about it. What I realized really quickly was once I finally did it, my teammates or my employees, they were actually super pumped about it. They were like, thanks, man. That's why I'm here. Like, I would love to take on that responsibility. I don't know why you've been doing the marketing. You brought me in to do the marketing. I would love to step up and do it. So it took me a while. And then when I started thinking about it, I kind of started really relating everything back to sports and to football. But, if I came in that locker room and I was the starting fullback and, I didn't play at all, which actually has happened because I was in the Peyton Manning offense and he never used a fullback. But if I went in there and, I didn't play, it was kind of like, why am I here? My talents aren't being used. What's the point of being on this team? I would like to play somewhere else. That's kind of how people start feeling. So once I started delegating and letting people completely take over what I brought them in to take over, they were pumped about it. They felt like they were a part of the team. They wanted to contribute. And you just started building this culture where everyone was there to win. Everyone was there to take on that responsibility or that challenge and take it to the next level. So you can't feel bad about empowering someone to do something that they're there to do. They're there for a reason and they want to contribute and be a part of it.
Well, we will definitely talk a little bit later about your NFL career there, because I definitely have some questions. And I didn't even think about the fact that you were in Peyton Manning's offense. And yeah,
that's a lot of special teams that year. Not much offense though.
Yeah. Well, we will get to that. So one thing I did want to ask though, in the tank, they talked about how nobody else had done what you had done, the double insulated bottle with a shaker top. Since being on Shark Tank, how have you had to deal with knockoffs?
Yeah, for sure. Anyone who's successful is going to run into knockoffs. That's kind of just the way that that you made it, that you made something great that people want. There's so many different tools now, like Jungle Scout, where people can go on and just look at your Amazon listings and know exactly how much product you're selling. They're going to do that. They're going to see your top of the category and they're going to immediately try to knock your product off. So it's easy to deal with it. You just do it better than everyone else for longer. The knockoffs all disappear really quickly because they always cut corners. They use, molds that were pre-made and they don't actually do anything different or new to make a great product. So they don't test the products. They use the cheapest material. They rust out. They leak. Everything that we fixed, or the reason we created Ice Shaker to fix all these issues, happens to all these other cups because they're not putting the research and development into it, and they're not testing the materials and they're using the cheapest materials. So it's happened. They come and go. It always happens to us. I think it probably happens to everyone. But I realized really quickly in business that if you take care of your customers, if you provide amazing customer support, and you're there to fix any issue that they might have, they're most likely going to come back and they're most likely going to tell a friend about you. And that's really the fastest way to grow. Some of our customers that have been the absolute maddest at us, maybe because their package didn't show up and, UPS delivered it to a different address and had nothing to do with us, but they're calling and, going insane on the phone about it. If we solved that problem, even though we didn't cause the problem, we realized really quickly that these will become lifetime customers of yours. They're very appreciative of it. And they'll actually go and they'll tell a friend, or they'll buy one for a friend or a family member, and they continue to come back for years and years and years. So to get over knockoffs, it's pretty simple. Just continue to get better every day. I tell people this all the time. It's been 7 years now. If you want to catch me and do the same thing as me, it's going to take you 7 years to catch up. We're that much further ahead than everyone else now at this point, with the product, with the relationships that we built, with the team that we built, that it's going to be very, very hard to catch us. So as long as I keep going and I keep getting better every single year, you're not going to catch me unless you throw, a lot of money at it, a lot of marketing at it, and you build a team that's better than mine.
No, absolutely. And you know, I guess knockoffs wouldn't be as big of a deal because the bottles will rust out and then they'll need another bottle like sooner rather than later, you know?
Yeah, they come and go. I mean, you see it, they stack all the reviews. It looks like a 5-star product, and 2 months later, it's back down to 2.5 stars. And, they stole a bunch of money from a bunch of people and tricked them. But it all comes around, man. If you do a great job, people keep coming back and they tell other people, and they are willing to pay a little bit more for great service as well. One thing that we do offer is customization. This was something I learned from my wife's first business, but we turn our products usually within 2 or 3 days. With the holidays right now, we customize bottles within 5 business days for less than 1,000 pieces. A lot of times orders are being shipped same day. And, if people want custom work on it, custom logo, custom sayings, all that stuff, we're still getting that out the door quickly as well. So I don't think I've ever missed a timeline in the history of the business. Whatever we say is usually going to happen unless, there's a shipping delay that's unforeseen and not our issue. But for the most part, we get everything out the door and we're extremely dependable. So when people need something, they come to us, even if they need it the same week. And it's just, again, service, being better, and offering a better variety and better service than anyone else out there is going to continue to bring business back to you.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. So going back into the tank, how did you come up with your initial valuation offer?
Yeah, man, I actually sat down with my dad. He's been in business for over 30 years selling fitness equipment. And I asked him, I got on the phone with him and I said, Dad, I have no clue what to value this company at. We're 6 months into it. We have 80,000 in sales. How do you possibly evaluate something like this? And he's like, you just got to make up a number, man, and then have a reason why it's that number. And I was like, well, how do we do that? So he kind of broke it down. He's like, well, how much do you think you're going to profit this year? Let's give yourself, a multiple in the industry is probably, for where you're currently at, is going to be at least a 5X because you're so early. This industry is going to get at least that for e-commerce. He's like, you could even kind of justify that it would be higher because you're so early. And then he said, what do you think you're going to be at the end of the year if you air on Shark Tank? And, that was kind of like, hey, we're going to be at least this number. Give us the lowest multiple, which would be a 5X on it right now. And we should be at least $1 million in the valuation. And he's like, well, as long as you can explain it to them, it's going to be very hard for them to argue against that. And that's where it came from. I had since then asked multiple different people how they value it. And it was kind of the same exact answer. I did ask my advisor at Cuban Companies. I was like, how do you possibly evaluate a company that early? And he's like, man, it's kind of like whatever they can prove or explain to us is what it's worth. We then it's just kind of a feel at that point. So went in there and, that's exactly what I did, kind of just explained to them why I thought it was that. They agreed. And I ended up getting that valuation that I put on it.
Yeah. Well, so I would look at it as, you have to also price it to be able to have some movement in the tank, right? Like you're not going to just anybody to raise money. So, I think that, 80,000 in 6 months out of the gate, you have great profit margin, right? It's not like you're real tight there. So you have money to, you're making money on every bottle that you sell. So you have an opportunity there to go. Plus, it's a consumable. So if I buy one, I'm probably going to buy at least 2 or 3 or 4 in the not too distant future. You know what I mean? I get the product. I love the product. I'm buying at least 2 or 3 right at probably not long after that. And then, I don't know, replace it, once a year?
Yeah.
It's just me just pull, from my own bottle experience, right? So it's like once you get into it, it's like, okay, so you could probably guarantee a 3 to 4, depending on how dedicated they are to the gym and their protein shake, routine and stuff like that. Like you're gonna have some variation, but yeah, I think that where you were asking was not crazy, and it's awesome that you were able to get in that valuation without having to get the Kevin's 20% for 100,000. Like, I love New England. Yeah. Like, yeah, okay. Real hometown price there, bud. Anyway, going into it, did you have a shark in mind?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the sports angle, I definitely wanted, to get Mark Cuban on board. I'm in Dallas, so I thought that would be a good fit as well, being close and being able to meet in person or swing by his office. I thought would be pretty valuable. So went in thinking Mark for sure. I thought Lori would be a good fit. She had some products in the fitness industry as well. I tried to get her in on the deal, and then A-Rod was kind of the wild card. He was a guest on the show. Really at that time, like there was no information about what he was doing. It was kind of an odd time for him. He's kind of still new to social media, so he wasn't really out there much. He didn't have a big following. I think he was just starting to do the MLB stuff again with the announcing. So really there was nothing out there. So he was kind of this massive question mark. But yeah, it was really, let's try to lock up Mark, and then let's just see what happens.
Yeah. Well, so speaking of wild card, Mark is sitting on the right side of the tank versus the left side, which is weird because there's only like one other episode I could think of where he's sitting in Kevin O'Leary's seat, and so he's almost always on the left, which would probably throw me off if I walked in and saw him sitting on the right rather than the left. So how did you get connected with Shark Tank? Did you apply or did they reach out to you?
Yeah, it came through, 2012. I was with the Denver Broncos at that time. My agent, Drew Rosenhaus, sent an email out just saying ABC Shark Tank is looking for any current or former NFL players to come on the show. For them, I think it's a way to build their audience, get more people to watch. And at that time, I was watching the show. Every new episode I was watching, I think I'd seen every single episode up to that point. And I just started this email, and I was like, man, one day I'm going to get on the show is kind of what I was thinking. So started. I had nothing, no game plan for entrepreneurship, was still in the middle of my career. And about 5 years later, I came back to that email, and I shot an email back. At that point, the girl was like, I don't work there anymore, but let me see if I can help you out. About 10 minutes later, she connected me with the girl who took over her spot. And they wanted a video submission, just told me, hey, put together a video and shoot it over. Did that. Had to wait, I think it was about a week. And they hit me back up, and they were like, we love it. We'd love to take you to the next steps and, see what we can do here. So quite the process still from there, but eventually got to, go film.
So with that said, how did you go about preparing for Shark Tank? I mean, obviously you have a family and now this business, and preparing for Shark Tank is a gauntlet. So you talked about already have previously watched a lot of the episodes leading up to that point, but what's some of the things that you specifically did to balance, business life and Shark Tank?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I was writing down all the questions they asked. I was researching about, other questions they asked. I was trying to find other people that had been on the show so that I could talk to them and get a little bit more in depth of what, actually happens, because as you know, what they show on TV is not the entire process. There's a way more to it. You're for us, at least, you're on stage for at least an hour at that point. So I did reach out to other people to see if I could get, some more information and, just some people with some more experience on the show so that I could be prepared as possible. But really what it came down to was just rehearsing the pitch over and over. That first 2 minutes is pretty valuable. You don't want to mess that up. And you see a lot of people just go up there and freeze. For me, I knew if I just rehearsed it over and over, no matter how nervous I really was, I could still, I can still rip it off and, do a great job of giving this presentation just because I practice it so much that I could do it in my sleep. So I think with preparation comes confidence as well. So, I wanted to make sure that I was coming up there. I was speaking well. I was ready to go. I was coming off confident. I wasn't too shaky or anything like that. So practicing the pitch in the mirror, practicing it in front of the people that you least want to do it in front of. So like family and friends sometimes are really good to do it in front of. My wife is a nice, critique of everything I say. So to do it in front of her and get her feedback was great. And then, really just writing down those questions and having an answer prepared. I went over those over and over and over again. The biggest one that kind of seemed to get everyone to stumble on was, Mr. Wonderful asking, what's going to stop him from making the Mr. Wonderful item, because they didn't have a patent. And I was sitting in that same boat at that time where, I didn't have that patent either. So I wanted to make sure if that question came off, I didn't end up like every other person on the show that just sat there and stumbled and didn't know what to say. So I had that answer prepared. I probably prepared and rehearsed that exact answer over 100 times.
What was that answer that you didn't get to use?
Man, so, I had to really think about it, but, I came back with, first to the market, being there first, at that time, really, it's more about the person and anyone can make a knockoff, but we've already proven this one to be successful. So, passion was another one that I really hit on with that answer as well. Anyone can make a knockoff, but no one's as passionate as I am about this product. No one's going to use it like I do. That stuff comes through, and I'm going to fight till the end to make sure that this product is successful. So I had an answer like that prepared, and I was definitely ready to fire it off the second he asked that question. But luckily for me, it actually never came, so I didn't have to worry about it.
So once you got back from recording Shark Tank, how did you prepare your business for potentially airing on Shark Tank?
Yeah, so for me, I watched over and over episodes of people that just, they ran out of inventory. Within 30 minutes of them airing, all of a sudden, you go to their website and there's no stock. So the second I filmed and I got an offer, I put a big order in. That money had to come out of my own pocket at that point because it does take a while to close. So it was a risk for me for sure. But the one thing I knew about Shark Tank was they reached out because they wanted NFL players on the show. And, I wasn't the only NFL player. They also had a future Hall of Famer on the show. And there was absolutely no way they weren't going to air that episode. So I was happy to take that chance. I immediately stocked up. We actually made a second version of the bottle. And luckily for me, it actually ended up coming, that shipment ended up coming 1 week before we aired on Shark Tank. So it ended up from filming to, I guess, airing was about 3 months. And, it came just in time for that episode. So that was it, man. Like the big thing was make sure you had enough product to immediately order that. The second biggest thing was capturing data. At least I thought so. I knew there'd be this massive influx of people coming to the site. A lot of times it's just to visit or see what's up or kind of just check out what's going on. I knew at that point, if I could capture a bunch of data, I could probably get a lot of them to come back. So email signups were absolutely huge. I was using AdRoll at that time as well to try to retarget people on the internet as well. So yeah, that was kind of the main two. And then, the third one wasn't really coming in play as much, but, making sure your website didn't crash. We're kind of right there, like at the point where they kind of figured all that out. So it didn't happen much anymore. But that was kind of the third thing I had to look out for and make sure I was all right with. Having customer service ready to go or people to answer the phone, their emails was big as well. Unfortunately, that was pretty much all me doing that at that time. And then we just prepackaged every bottle. At that time, I only had one bottle. I had one color. That was pretty much it at that point. We had a little bit of stock of a couple colors, but that was sold in like the first 30 minutes. So we prepackaged a whole bunch of bottles, based on quantities of 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way up to 6. So that all I had to do was print labels and slap them on the box. So that, getting that stuff out the door in an efficient manner ended up with pretty much no employees, ended up not being too bad. Just because we already went through and we packaged everything and taped it up, and we just had to slap labels on the boxes.
Well, that was very smart. I would say that ordering a big order of mostly, I guess, just one color is not the end of the world because you were going to sell them regardless, and they're not going to go. They're not spoiling. So
yeah,
it might take an extra couple of months to sell them if Shark Tank didn't give that boost that you would expect Shark Tank to, but like you were going to sell them regardless at some point, they were still liquidable inventory.
Absolutely.
So speaking of all that though, because you were all by yourself in that, in that process, did you have a watch party? Did you get to enjoy the watch party?
Yeah. We definitely had a watch party. I guess I wouldn't say I was all by myself. So my wife had her own business. We had employees with that business as well. So they were helping along the way too. So I was fortunate enough to have a lot of her employees come over and kind of just help out. And it was probably on her payroll too at the time, which was even better. So I'll definitely take that. But yeah, so they helped. Friends and family hopped in and helped as well. So it wasn't like I was the only guy sitting here packing and shipping everything. It was a grind for a bunch of people that stepped in and helped us out for that first week. So watch party was good though. Definitely had to have the watch party. I kind of hate watching myself, so I just kind of chilled and kind of sat in the back, and everyone watching. It was a good time. Got the offer. Everyone started kind of going crazy, partying, slapping each other up. So it was good stuff, man.
And how did the sales and traffic go that night?
Man, it crushed. I would say I probably had one of the worst websites ever. Like looking back on it, like I was so proud of it at the time. But now if I ever relaunched it, it would be like, what are you doing kind of thing. It did well though. I think we had about 35,000 people come to our website the first day, like that first night. The next day, I think it was actually more people, if I recall correctly. But most people went to Amazon. On the pitch, I mentioned that we saw on Amazon. So even to this day, when we re-air, it's our Amazon sales, they sell more than our website. So we see this massive spike on Amazon. I don't know if Shark Tank fans just like shopping on Amazon more, or if it was because I said it on the show. But we had stock on Amazon. It was actually our older version that we had a little bit left of. The game plan at that time was to drive people to our website. Don't know if it was the best game plan or not, because we sold out of stock on Amazon in 30 minutes. And then people came to our site and bought, but they weren't buying at the same speed that they were buying on Amazon. So I think we could have sold a lot more product if we stocked Amazon. But I did at that time, like I truly wanted to know who our customer was. I started the product as a shaker bottle that I thought would be a bunch of meatheads like myself that are in the gym looking to chug protein shakes. And I realized pretty quickly that when we tried to target that demographic, it wasn't really selling that well. When I started to really dig in and think more about it, I realized that I probably wouldn't buy it myself, but I would tell my wife about it, or my girlfriend, or whoever it was, and she would probably buy it for me. So we started actually targeting females, and our sales started doing way better. So pretty interesting to see. We then, because of that reason, we started to create products that were more geared towards females. Our second item was actually a skinny tumbler. And we realized pretty quickly that they were buying for their boyfriends, their husbands, even their kids. But now they were also buying a product for themselves as well. So we built a lot of our products based around our demographics once we knew who they were. And we really found out who they were because of Shark Tank. And at that time, because of Facebook ads and the data that was available on Facebook. You used to be able to take those email addresses, plug them into Facebook, and then pull a report about your audience. And that report was super detailed down to what car these people drove, how much money they made, how many people were in their family, what education levels they had. So luckily, like for me at least at that time, it gave me this amazing portfolio of who my customers truly were. And I used that to benefit us. We found out really quickly that our best customer was actually a female that was over the age of 40. And she was buying for her husband, her kids, sometimes grandkids, and then for herself. And then she was coming back as well and buying for gifts, for holidays, for birthdays, stuff like that too. So when I started the company and we started first advertising, I would have never targeted someone like that, and quickly realized that, that was the person that we wanted to target the most. So pretty interesting. That's for sure. I've learned a lot over the years, but that was, for me, was one of the big things that I learned early on.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons. So I offer a free avatar building guide, joepardo.com/avatar. And, I tell people, I'm like, look, you're going to fill this out. You're going to answer 64 questions about who you think you're going to sell to. And then what you might realize is that it's the significant other of that person you just built, because that's not who you got to actually market to. It's kind of like kids and toys, right? Like, you got to market to the kids to get the parents to go buy the toys.
Yep.
You market to the parents, it's just all noise, right? So it's just white static. But yeah, I think that's awesome that you figured out that, like, that's who you actually need to go after, not necessarily it's funny. It's like, what do they say? Like the meatheads, they work out and everything like that, so that women will find them attractive. And it's the other bros that are like, high fives, slaps on the vest and stuff about how great the gains are. It's look, people that nerd out about things. It doesn't matter what you're nerdy about, sports or working out or camera equipment or video games. It doesn't really matter. It's going to be the other people that are really into it. But it's going to be the people outside of that need to figure out what the gift is for this year, because Christmas is coming, birthdays are coming, and it's, that's what I need to find.
Yeah, 100%. And I didn't realize that, but we figured it out. Shark Tank really helped us figure that out, along with some Facebook analytics and data.
And God, pour one out for Facebook analytics for back in the day. That what you used to be. It's scary, the amount of information that used to be able to get as an advertiser on Facebook. It kind of stinks because now it's not there. But at the same time, like, you probably shouldn't have had that, data available to just anyone anyway. But it kind of stinks as a marketer. So, c'est la vie, I guess. But hey,
they still know though. So
they do. Oh, they do. They just don't give you direct access. Yeah. So I had some questions, NFL related questions and things like that. So I thought this would be a good point to get into that. So look, they call the NFL the not for long league, and you know better than a lot of people how true that is. Now, obviously, you played for Dallas. I'm not going to hold that against you or anything, but mine's not in the last 30 years, or mine's not. This hat ain't 30 years old at this point. But you definitely got to play with some great talent, right? From Tony Romo to Peyton Manning. I'm really curious. Being a fullback now, obviously fullbacks have tailed off and is a dying, well, pretty much dead. I don't think anybody comes out as a fullback at this point, do they?
Yeah, there's some fullbacks left for sure. You got some guys still repping it pretty hard, but for the most part, it's a position that is going to play maybe a third of the snaps, and you're still going to have offenses that run the ball hard. Like the Ravens, you're going to have San Fran, has a fullback that makes some good money out there. You're going to have the Patriots. You're going to have Bill Belichick, who always carries a fullback. That's going to just go in there and smash for a couple plays, and then he's going to expect them to play on all the special teams as well. So it's still out there. When I played, 28 teams had a fullback. Every team I played on, I was the only fullback. So the backup plan is a tight end or a D tackle, or really just throwing anyone in there to try to get the job done. But they will carry one. So I was one of 28.
Did you play fullback through high school and college?
Yeah, so I played fullback in high school. I then went to the University of Maryland, had a scholarship offer for really the fullback position. I played offense. After my freshman season, I redshirted first in the freshman season. I then transferred to from Maryland to Arizona, and played some linebacker, like scout team linebacker. At that point, they didn't really have a fullback. They then moved me to offense. I started playing more like this H-back, fullback look. Started with about 8 snaps the first game, played really well, got about 20 the second game. And it kind of turned into a real position where I was then playing 30 to 40 snaps a game. So, pretty much played fullback my whole life. And then on defense, I was playing linebacker, more of like a strong safety look in high school.
So, so yeah, I mean, but it has to be tough knowing that going into the NFL draft, knowing that there's only 28 fullback positions out there. Well, 30, I guess in theory up to 32, but only 28 teams at the time carrying them. So how did that play into? Because like I feel like it's like I have a golden ticket, a golden opportunity to get into the NFL draft, which like not many people at all get to do that. But then like having like how does that play on you? Like what was your feelings about that going in as a fullback versus say as a defenseman?
Yeah, so I mean, for me, and I was willing to do whatever it took at whatever position it took. So I really didn't think I even had a chance to make it. I was always told, it's 1 in a million. I had 2 other brothers in my own family that were better than me, so my 1 in a million was looking really bad at that point because there was already 2 others that already took that spot. So, luckily I did get a chance. I got an opportunity to play. I didn't ask to play fullback. I would have loved to be more of this tight end / H-back type wing look that actually gets to catch some passes. But at the end of the day, I was going to do whatever it took. I was too short to play tight end, per NFL standards. I think I was also not fast enough to kind of be like that H-back, like wing type guy or smaller tight end that just, can be out there just running crisp routes and, beating corners. So I kind of fell into the only position that I could truly play at that level, which was fullback. And, I went out there and for me, I kind of had a no option mentality when I was in the NFL. I had an older brother who got drafted, in the minor leagues of baseball. I had my other older brother that got drafted to the Lions. And I had a younger brother that got drafted in the 2nd round that same year that I went undrafted. So I knew if I didn't make a roster, I was going to hear about it from literally everyone, including my brothers, for the rest of my life. So I had to make this team no matter what. That was kind of my mentality, and I was going to do whatever it took to make that team. So it's kind of always an underdog, undrafted guy going to the Dallas Cowboys. There hadn't been a undrafted player that made the roster in over 10 years. And, I had to make that team. So ended up making it as the fullback. Actually, they kept 2 fullbacks the first game. The starting fullback ended up getting hurt, and they cut him that game. And, I took over the role the 2nd game of the year and started the rest of the year. So, man, it was just a tough position for sure, but it was just kind of a mentality, and it was, the only position that I could really be successful at that level.
Well, I mean, I love for the fullback because here in Philly we have John Ritchie on the radio every morning, who was the Eagles fullback, and he played somewhere else as well with Gruden, I guess Tampa Bay, if I was guessing. But no, I even getting to play Madden and stuff like that. Always liked playing the plays that brought the fullback out to get the 2, 3, 4 yards.
Oh yeah,
and smash up the middle there. So
yeah, man.
What was the guy? Was it Allstott?
Yeah, he was a beast, man. He got to run the ball and just truck people. I do have a quick story for you that you'll probably like. Just because I know you've been, just giving me trash about being a Cowboy. So
I mean, I'm just saying, like, it's
man. So when I got released from the Cowboys, you get put on waivers for 24 hours, and a team can pick you up. So I actually got picked up, but I had multiple teams put in for me. And how it works is when you have multiple teams put in for you, you have to first they gotta take you on whatever your current contract is. So. I got released. They picked up my contract, but I also then you get rewarded to the team that has the least amount of wins. That's a way to kind of make it fair, I guess, for teams that are trying to pick up some players that are kind of struggling. So I ended up getting rewarded to the Colts. So the other team that tried to pick me up was the Eagles. So I actually would have been on the Eagles roster. They would have rostered me my 2nd year. If the Colts didn't put in for me. So I would have been a Philadelphia Eagle. Played against them twice the previous year, and I must have had some good games against them because they tried to snag me that following year. But I went to the Colts instead, got stuck in a Peyton Manning offense. The first day I got there, they had, I think, 3 plays for a fullback written up. And I was like, man, what am I doing here? And they're like, well, we're not sure if Peyton's going to play this year, so we need some run support. And so I ended up being the first fullback in the Peyton Manning era.
And that was in 2009?
So that was 2011 for the Colts. I ended up playing that season. We started off 0-13. I ended up tearing my pec tackling Darren Sproles. Our week 7 game where we got blown out, I think 63-3 against the Saints. I was out for the season. I had surgery. I came back, and Peyton Manning got traded. A guy named Bruce Arians came in. He was cited that he would never use a fullback. And I was like, wow, no, this is going to be interesting.
Another Philly guy.
Yeah, he came up to me. He said, hey, I saw you played more of like an H look in H-back look in college. You know, would you like to catch a bunch of balls for us? And I was like, yes, sir, man. This is like a dream come true, right? And about a week later, I'm starting on all the special teams, kind of like more of this H-back look. And all of a sudden, I'm not practicing anymore. They kind of just don't even put me in for the entire practice. And I'm like, man, I don't know what I did wrong, but this isn't good. So right before the practice ends, they're about to break the huddle, call everyone in. I get a tap on my shoulder, and they told me, hey, you have a plane flight booked. You'll be in Denver tonight. We just traded you. So ended up then getting traded to Denver. All you do is you take a suitcase with you, and they ship all the rest of your stuff to you. Got there, and I was now back in the Peyton Manning offense again. So they traded me to be with Peyton again, and again was in a situation where they didn't know how well he'd be able to throw the ball, and they wanted some more run support. So traded for me. I ended up going there and probably played about, maybe about 40 snaps on offense that entire year in that Peyton Manning offense. So I got really good at special teams that year, though, and graded out as the 3rd best special teams player. So that was my season, man. I did catch 1 ball from Peyton, though, so that was good.
Did you get to keep that ball though?
Didn't, man. It was actually kind of early on in the season. I thought I was going to get more than 1 pass for the entire year. Didn't happen, but good memories. Ended up getting to play against New England that season as well. John Fox was the coach in Denver at the time, and he had this whole game plan where he wanted me to score more touchdowns than my brother, so that I could talk trash to him. So he actually put in these goal line packages where he was going to throw the ball to me, and we got down to the goal line. We ran the play, and of course, Belichick, just being Belichick, pretty much knows everything that's going to happen. So play was covered. He had Patrick Chung just sitting there in the flat where I was, running this flat route that no one thought I was going to run because I didn't run a freaking flat route the whole year. But somehow, some way, there's a guy just standing there waiting for me out in the flat. So didn't get to score against my brother, but I did get special teams player of the week that week. So that was cool.
Ah, that's cool. And Patrick Chung, another Eagle.
Man, yeah, he did for a little bit, for sure.
Yeah, it was for a little bit. We didn't have a whole lot of love for him when he was here, but yeah, he did play. Speaking of your brother, what's your take on the USAA commercials?
Man, I think they got a little bit better lately, but the whole "I'm special" was definitely interesting.
It doesn't seem to send the right message. Like, it seems like a weird like, I think it's great that he's getting to do it. I don't love them. Like, it makes him look goofy.
Yeah, I mean, I wished he had more of the commercials like Tom Brady where they make him look really good. Yeah, I think, it's kind of, people put that as his persona because he likes to have a good time. So it plays off well, but really at the end of the day, he's a lot smarter than he comes off. I tell people this all the time, man. If you were 20 years old and someone gave you a guaranteed $4 million, what were you going to do at that time? I was 23 when I entered the league, and they gave me $4 million. I don't know what I would have done, but he was super responsible with it. He kept every penny. He was still, after I was done playing, I used to go visit him. He was still taking home food from the complex. And I'm like, man, you have like enough money to live for the rest of your life at this point. And, you're still bringing home food from the complex like we did in college. So, man, yeah, I mean, everything, relationships, the way he's carried himself, the things he's done after football is so impressive. So a lot smarter than you would think. And those commercials, just make him look like he's not very intelligent. So I agree with you. And I wish they gave him more of, the beast mode kind of mentality, kind of persona on these commercials where, he was this guy that was just, a beast, man, like kind of like the Rock's persona. That's how I see him. Like, you got to be like the Rock and, come out there and just dominate like you did on the field and, show your true, just skills and dominance instead of, being this guy that just doesn't, I mean, really they're playing the persona of a dumb jock and I just don't think it fits that well either.
Yeah. And I mean, look, I don't have a lot of love for the Patriots, but, I respect Rob for what he did and has been able to do. And I mean, it's great to see him on Sunday mornings on Fox. It seemed like, I mean, this was the first Sunday morning I had watched in a while, and seeing him there, like they need to give him a little more opportunity. It feels like he's trying to, I don't want to say third wheel, but like
they had him jump out of a plane the week before. So
yeah, they mentioned that. They mentioned that.
Oh man, so no, for sure. I mean, I also I don't think he enjoys the analytics side of things as much as some of the other guys do as well. It's tough. It's tough being a player and then trying to go back and kind of like grade out players and like talk about things that people should be doing because how hard it is to get there. What it takes to be successful, and sometimes even when you put the work in, sometimes it just doesn't work out. So I think it's kind of hard for him to sit there and kind of break down someone, on what they're doing or not doing just because of, his status as a former player.
Yeah. I mean, I think that speaks a lot to his acumen and his I guess the true him that we're not necessarily getting to see, right? And also going back to the USAA example, right? Like that's, it plays into that persona, but like it's like a soft and like squishy Rob Gronkowski, not the one that we feared playing against in like lots of times over the years.
Yeah, for sure.
And yeah, so I hope that he's able to find his own voice in that and find his own comfort level of being able to critique without putting down people that are putting in that work. And that's what things like, here in Philly, we have our radio station, right? Like, and we're very passionate about our sports and our sports teams and sometimes overly critical, I think to a fault where it's like, like we're sitting at 9-1 and like people are calling up and like the sky's falling. And it's like, well, yeah, like things weren't perfect, but like, okay, like we can talk about the things that weren't quite perfect, but like, let's not dunk on a team that's sitting 9-1 either, right? Like, let's kind of enjoy the fact that this is rare air we're breathing here.
No, for sure. Yeah, one of the first things I learned is, it's hard to win in the NFL, and the second biggest thing is it's hard to beat a good team twice. That you learn that really quick. So, and everyone, no matter how bad of a season a team has, that's still the best players in the world, man, that you're playing against. And I love the comparison where people say, can the best college team beat the worst NFL team? And the answer is absolutely no chance. I mean, these guys are doing it for a living. When you do it for a living and this is how you feed your family, the level goes up so fast that you're playing so hard each and every play. And you're picking from the cream of the crop, the best college players in the world, not just, from the last 4 high school seasons, like a college team is. You're picking it from the last, 10, maybe even 20 years. If you're Tom Brady, you're getting to choose the best players in the world over the last 10, 15, 20 years to be on your team. The speed, the talent, everything in the NFL is just absolutely insane. And I don't think people realize how big of the gap there really is between college and the NFL.
Yeah, well, I to me, when people bring that topic up, I'm just like, have you not watched the games where it's like 47-7, like, and it happens like every week consistently, and it's like that's what it's going to look like if if an NFL team played against them. I mean, maybe they'd score 14 points, maybe.
Yeah, that'd be tough, man. That'd be tough. But yeah, it's hard to win, man. So yeah, I mean, 9-1 it's extremely impressive. But really, I mean, I think it comes down to teams getting hot at the end and being healthy. If you're healthy at the very end of the season, that's when you go on and win, man. That's when you see these teams that were mediocre and everyone comes back at the right time. They're now healthy. Everyone's firing, and once you get in the playoffs, you never know what's going to happen. But a lot of times, it's who is the healthiest team that's on the field at that point.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That it does play a huge role in it. Being able to stay healthy and have the people the best of the best available at the time, right? Chris, what was your childhood dream growing up?
Man, I don't know. We definitely all kind of aspired to be athletes. For me, I didn't think that was a possibility to take it to the highest level. I was the shortest in the family, probably the slowest. I was kind of the little chunky one as well early on, and my brothers used to make fun of me because I guess their favorite thing was my nipples went in because I was so fat, I guess. So like that's all they would talk about, and just crush me over it. So I just used to. I remember I'd spend days, kind of in the gym, working on abs and doing whatever I could, and I came out, being the strongest of all the brothers. I still have high school records for weightlifting, but yeah, man, growing up, it was to play sports, but really I don't think it was something that I really put a ton of attention to. And I feel like I wish I appreciated my career a little bit more. I didn't realize like how special it was being there and how hard it was to really get there. We were always kind of the best at everything we did growing up. And it was because we put the work in. Our dad had the gym in the basement. I'm competing against my older brothers that, their friends are also over, and they're all some of the best players for their age groups. And I had the chance to play along with them. So, man, a lot of it, I think, I just took for granted, the circumstances that I was in, and I didn't truly realize how special they were. So, but yeah, man, growing up, I guess really at the end of the day, it was kind of a hope and a dream that I could be an athlete at that level, but I just didn't truly think it would ever come true.
And yeah, I mean that's difficult to wrangle with, especially when you were saying like it's 1 in a million to get into the NFL. And or really compete on any professional level sport in general is such a small sliver of opportunity for you to be able to take it. And then also, as we said, be healthy, right? Like, injuries, can put that back, and any kind of outside life, instances can change, how you're feeling and how you're feeling about getting back into the gym or just moving forward.
For sure.
So what does the future of Ice Shaker look like?
Man, things have been good. We've grown every year since being on Shark Tank, at least 20% every year since that. Just got NFL licensing, really all teams, all leagues, but the NFL was the big dog that we were really trying to get. So absolutely huge for us. It's a really cool partnership. We'll end up, in all the big retailers with this product as well. But man, yeah, we're just still every day trying to get better, trying to reach more people. I think a good way to explain it is, we've sold millions of bottles at this point. But if you walk down the street from my warehouse and you ask 10 people if they know what Ice Shaker is, maybe one person knows who we are still. So just a lot of opportunity that's still out there. We can still continue to expand into the the products with the products that we already have. I don't think we need to go out there and make hundreds of new items still at this point. I think we need to saturate the market that we're in even more than we currently have. And really, there's a lot of opportunity left. So continuing to do well with our current partnerships and growing with them is huge. Continuing to find new partnerships like our Pit Viper one is a good example. We have another one with a company called Bumpbox where we have a speaker that actually twists onto the bottom of our bottles. We just got that back in stock for the holidays. It became a massive gift for the bowl games. I think we have 6 bowl games that have ordered that item already. So that's pretty cool to see. But yeah, man, just continuing to do a great job with what we have and with the partners that we have, and continuing to grow with them is big. These licensing opportunities and partnerships have also been a massive win for us as well.
Well, that is awesome. I would be remiss if I didn't give a huge shout out to Larry Roberts, who's a friend of the channel, for connecting us in the first place. So thank you, Larry. I should have mentioned that at the beginning of the video, but yeah, you know, we get around to it. And so how can people get your product, Chris?
Yeah, for sure. So, you know, all of our new stuff and customization and all that's on iceshaker.com. So, man, just launched the new site as well. I think 2 weeks ago. So we just gave it a nice little refresh. So I like seeing it, man. It makes me happy. But iceshaker.com for sure. We're also in the GNCs, the vitamin shops. We are in Lifetime Fitness. We're in 24-hour fitness. But you know, when you're in retail, it's select SKUs. There's not as much. There might be. You know, if you go to Lifetime, they carry the most of our SKUs. You might find, you know, 6 or 8 SKUs there, but most of the stores are carrying just a couple. And if you want that personalization aspect and you want to make it, you know, special just for you, come to our website and customize the bottle as well. So iceshaker.com is where it's at.
Awesome. You absolutely should. I also thought it was really cool that you show the process of it being not embroidered.
Yeah, laser engraved. Yeah.
Laser engraved. Like that's pretty sweet to see. Anyway, Chris, I really appreciate you taking the time today, coming here right the day before Thanksgiving. So happy Thanksgiving to you and your family.
You too.
And I would love to have you on again a year or two to follow up, see how things are going, and go from there.
I appreciate it, Joe. Thanks so much for having me on.
You're so welcome. And thank you for making it all the way to the end. If you've enjoyed this video, watch Chris's pitch up here if you haven't seen it. If not, I'll see you in the video down below. Take care and go be super.